Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and like the title suggests, we're talking about a massive Blu-ray haul for the month of August. I collected way too many films, some from standard Blu-ray companies, but also from some boutique labels, so there's going to be a good, interesting mix of different films here to showcase to you. Some of them I have seen, a lot of them I haven't, but I'm very, very excited to showcase what I have been picking up and also what I've been watching for this last month. And I know it's early September, and so there's a couple of things to kind of cover a little bit of ground on. But also, if you remember, a few videos back, I actually did a giveaway of Akira Kurosawa's Ron right here on Blu-ray. So if you did enter in that giveaway, stick around for the end of the video. I'll be doing the giveaway. I'll be doing the random giveaway winner, and yeah, we'll be doing that live on the camera. So let's actually now jump in to the Blu-rays for the month of August. All right, so the first film that I'm going to be talking about is a 4K from Arrow Video, and I love this movie, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, honestly. I used to have the attack pack of the old DVD copies. I'm talking about Tremors, of course, and the Tremors attack pack, I used to have the first 4 movies on DVD back in the early 2000s when that came out, and I remember watching this as a kid and being just terrified. So this movie is from 1990 and is just, or 89, so like right at the turn there. I knew it was around that time, but I love how Kevin Bacon is in this film. We also have quite a different array of people, from Fred Ward, who plays his friend and partner. We also have Michael Gross, Reba McEntire's in it as well, and Fenton Carter. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, but I really love this 4K and this 4K release, because I think Arrow did a fantastic job of restoring the picture quality here, and it's just got a really great scan from the original negative by Arrow. And it has a load of special features right here, all in this chunk. I watched quite a bit of them, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it was just a really nice breath of fresh air to watch a classic film that I really loved as a kid, and now I can watch it on 4K. And no, I didn't get the cool special edition of it, because I know that ran out very fast, but I highly recommend, if you do need to get Tremors upgraded in any kind of way, get this 4K from Arrow, because it's absolutely fantastic, and I highly recommend it. So now let's actually move on to a Criterion disc. All right, so next is a movie that is from 1991, but is actually based on a 1971 travelogue, a poetic travelogue by Donald Ritchie. And the 1991 film is actually directed by Lucille Cara, and I'm talking about The Inland Sea. And The Inland Sea is by number 988, and it is in the Criterion collection. And this is a very short 56-minute film. It really is like this poetic travelogue. It is the words of this author, Donald Ritchie, who really kind of showcased the foreign eye in another country, specifically Japan, and how Americans or anyone who is a foreigner in that land would kind of approach different things and how they would find themselves. So it really is kind of just like a musings of himself and the people, like the interactions that he had with everybody. He was just naturally curious about the people that he was meeting and their traditions and customs that he was encountering from his Western eye. And so I think this is actually a really great little film. There are some moments that it really highlighted, at least to me. If anyone's familiar, I actually was able to go to China for 5 months, obviously not Japan, but the same, I guess, foreignness, me going to another country, really struck me into the sense of where I am in proximity, and where I am in time and space, alongside these customs that I'm not super familiar with, but also there's no way I could ever fully understand them, but I can appreciate them from a distance, or also just based on that proximity, really kind of understand. So this, for anyone who's ever traveled or lived in another country, or been to another country and really kind of just stayed there for a little bit, I think you would find this very, you'd appreciate this work quite a bit, and that's something that I really enjoyed about it. There's also really great special features here. So this is the 4K digital transfer right here. There's some interviews with Cara herself, the director, which I really liked. Kind of just exposing her time, where she actually worked for I want to say Toho, and in the New York office, and so that was really cool how her interaction with Japan just made her adept to this story, right? There's also a conversation between Paul Schrader, the filmmaker, and then also cultural critic Ian Baruma on Donald Ritchie and his life, and I thought this was really, really in-depth and really kind of rich and just kind of giving some context to what this work is like. So anyway, yeah, and there's a new essay by Arturo Silva, and there's also an interview with Ritchie from 1991. So I actually quite enjoyed this. I actually got this on Amazon. It was actually cheaper than a normal Criterion disc, mainly because it is this 56-minute film, right? And it's not one that's super touted or anything like that. But I found this work to be highly satisfying and something that really connected to me, just because like I have been overseas and really have been kind of showcased another culture in a way that you know, you kind of have to understand that feeling a little bit once you're there. But anyway, I recommend it, even if you haven't been to another country. I'd say it's a nice little travelogue, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So Inland Sea, have you seen it? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, so next is this box set that I got from Imprint, and I don't have very many Imprint films. I have a few of their titles, Hard 8, and I think I talked about the Hammer House of Horror TV series, but I also have this Silver Screens Cinema box set that I recently picked up from them. I really wish I got that Hammer box set as well, but it costs an arm and a leg, and a lot of things from Imprint do cost an arm and a leg because Imprint is an Australian film company and the shipping is quite heavy. But I was able to pick this one up, and I got this box set, and I've actually been watching them as well because it is September right now, but I'm really wanting it to be October. I'm really watching a lot of horror films, and I decided to go with these films, and this covers the gamut from like 1944 all the way up to 1957. So this box set has 6 films in total. Actually, there's a 7th because there's a bonus film, and I've watched everything in this box set. I literally just finished it today as I'm recording this, so I can talk to you a little bit about each. So I am going to give you a little bit of a rundown here of these films. I actually started going in order of how these are listed here: The Unknown Terror, She-Devil, Return of the Ape Man, Valley of the Zombies, The Vampire's Ghost, and The Phantom Speaks. So going off first with this title right here, we have Unknown Terror. And Unknown Terror is they dared to enter the cave of death to explore the secrets of hell and find the unknown terror. This is a film from 1957, so I went backwards. I went to the 50s to the 40s later. And Unknown Terror is one of my favorites of the 6 films that I watched. It's one that's set in a jungle in this fictional place, and you know, somebody goes missing in this cave exploration, trying to find some sacrificial spots. They hear this legend. Yeah, it's about the people who are going after them and trying to find that piece in that person. And there might be some kind of mad scientist thing going on. It's a lot of fun, and a lot of these films are really, really short. You know, it has both of the films, Unknown Terror and She-Devil, on the other side right here. About an hour and 17 minutes is the Unknown Terror. Which is the same for She-Devil, but it has sweet special features as well. It has a horror audio commentary by fantasy and horror authors Stephen Jones and Kim Newman, fresh out of 2021. Kim Newman and Stephen Jones, they are on 3 of these titles, and they're the best audio commentaries of the bunch. And I highly recommend watching those on top of the movie itself. Obviously first, these are some of the commentaries that really just kind of can breeze by because these are short movies. And I don't always listen to the commentaries. That's actually a pretty rare occurrence for me. But if I'm doing something in the background, in my room or wherever I'm at, and if I have the disc there available, I can listen to commentaries sometimes. And it was actually quite enjoying for especially those two, Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. But yes, Unknown Terror, one of my favorite ones. Next is She-Devil right here, which is actually based on, I think, a book or a play. There's actually a few different things that this is based off of. but is the adaptive ultimate is, I think, the story that is what this is based off of. In fact, there's actually a special feature here, Tales of Tomorrow episode of The Miraculous Serum, which is based on that science fiction short story, which is what She-Devil is based off of. There's also a radio anthology episode as well, some from the 40s and 50s. And then there's a commentary by Stephen Jones and Kim Newman, once again, the best duo on these discs. And then there's the presentation right here. So She-Devil is quite the treat here. It's once again another kind of mad science experiment where somebody does this serum that is kind of experimental and turns this woman who was dying into this kind of stone cold chameleon of sorts, because they can change their hair color, and kind of gets away with murder and kind of is like unstoppable and unkillable, and just becomes kind of a psycho. And I really like this because this film kind of showcases the errors of the men who try to, really just mess with science, and then see the wrath occur because of it. It's a really fun one, and it's definitely, these are two of the bests in the set. All right, now this whole video is turning into an exposition of these. I'll speed this one up a little bit. Next, I watched Return of the Ape Man right here with John Carradine and Bela Lugosi, probably the two most famous people in this box set. This is actually my least favorite film of the bunch, just gonna say that. Then there's also Valley of the Zombies right here, and Valley of the Zombies is actually a lot of fun. These are, I believe this one is a Republic film. And Republic Films is Republic Pictures are an old corporation that put out a lot of serials, a lot of westerns, and some B-horror movies as well. The Valley of the Zombies has nothing really to do with zombies, at all. But these were pretty. That one was a lot more fun than Return of the Ape Man with Bela Lugosi. And those movies are an hour long each. Just an hour long each, from 1944. And 1946, respectively. So that is two films there. And then the last films I watched right here were The Vampire's Ghost and The Phantom Speaks. And then there's also a bonus movie on here called The Lady and the Monster from 1944. But these movies are all from 1945. The Vampire's Ghost is actually quite good. It has John Abbott as the vampire. And this is also another jungle film. Very untraditional type of vampire film that you would see from the Universal around this time period. Obviously, Universal's doing a lot of the sequels at this time period as well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I actually quite enjoyed this one. It's one of my favorites. And then The Phantom Speaks, which is another mad scientist film about somebody who wants to kind of enact some kind of occult thing where he can get somebody's spirit into another person's body, and you see the actions of that. And so these were really good films. Special features, all the audio commentaries were a lot of fun. Obviously, like I said, Stephen Jones and Kim Newman do the best work. They are on 3 of these movies, so I would recommend those. I know I talked a lot about this, but I really enjoyed my time, and spooky season is just around the corner. So I would recommend getting the Silver Screen Cinema box set if you can. It's not cheap. If you can, get it on deep discount here in the States if you're here. It's certainly a fun time, and definitely has got me into the mood for Halloween, and I'm very, very excited for that. Anyone seen any of these movies? These are all B movies, just gotta give you a heads up on that too. Alright, so now let's actually move on to a Disney movie. Alright, so this is the last of the films that I have seen. I watched this one in theaters a few months back, and I finally got the 4K of this because I actually did enjoy this one, and there was a sale at this used movie store that I go to, and it was a buy two get one free. And I was like, I saw this was used, and I actually quite enjoyed it. Talking about Raya and the Last Dragon right here. Awkwafina plays this dragon, this last dragon, and I actually really enjoyed this movie. It's a really nice Disney film, animated film about Raya, who is a part of these different tribes, and she is the daughter of the tribes that try to get them all together. And chaos kind of ensues, and there's a lot of different plots that are involved. The dragons used to be involved in the world itself, but they all got turned to stone because of this entity that kind of took them all out, except for these last 5 dragons, or I guess 5 of the dragons, and then Raya as well, and then the last dragon. Why am I blanking on Kumandra? right here, and is where the world's at. But the dragon herself, who Awkwafina plays, she is the one who saved humanity from these spirits. And so, yeah, it's about Rhea and her journey of finding Awkwafina and then trying to restore balance to the world. Actually, I probably botched that quite a bit, but it's a good movie. I liked it a lot. So if you can, I would say check it out on Disney Plus if you want. But also, I haven't checked out the 4K yet, but I'm excited to. And so, yeah, I picked this one up. And yeah, so let's actually now move on to the films I haven't seen. And yeah, we're going to start off with another Disney movie. Alongside with that buy two get one free sale, I also saw that the newest Disney Pixar film, Luca, was on sale as well. I haven't seen this movie, so I don't really know much about it. I've heard some good things from the people who have seen it, and so I mean, Disney Pixar rarely puts out like anything that really stinks, in my opinion, so I know I'm going to enjoy it. And I got this one on sale. I consider this my free film, right? So to me, like that was worth it alone. So has anyone seen Luca? I want to know what you think down in the comment section down below. All right, so now we're going to move on to my standard releases, and the first one is a defunct Blu-ray kind of indie label from Alamo Drafthouse. They used to have this lineup where they put out films, and this is one movie that I kind of saw a long time ago and decided to finally pick it up. I got it on Hamilton Books sellers online, so it was really, really cheap. I actually got The Overnighters right here. It's a documentary, and this documentary is looking about unemployed hopefuls in trying to get just work in these American dream kind of landscape. And yeah, I don't really know terribly too much about it. I just, I know that I had it on my list years and years ago, and I saw it for, I think, a price of like $5 or something like that on Hamilton Books, and I decided to snatch it there. There's actually a lot of Alamo Drafthouse films that are on Hamilton Books, and I highly recommend it because they have some good titles. So yeah, if you've seen The Overnighters, let me know what you think. But I've been watching a lot more documentaries lately. All right, so the next film I'm talking about is a classic film from 2001, a classic action film that I have never seen, by the way. But I recently was on a podcast, Schlock and Awe. If you are curious about that, I talked about In Bruges and the Fright Night remake with Colin Farrell because I wanted to do a Colin Farrell double feature. My good friend Lindsay, she is the host of Schlock and Awe, and if you want to hear that episode, please check that out in the description down below. It was a blast, and yeah, I'm going to be talking more about podcasts in the future, but that was quite a bit of fun. But she brought up Phone Booth right here, and I've never seen this movie with it's the Joel Schumacher film from 2001. It also has Forrest Whitaker in it and Kiefer Sutherland as well, but I love Colin Farrell, and anyone who knows me knows that, and I won't shut up about him. So I'm gonna be getting some Colin Farrell films, maybe even not so the good ones so much either, because I'm just such a big fan of him. Or as Cris Hurtado would say, I'm a stan of him. But anyway, yeah, Phone Booth. When's the last time you saw this movie? All right, so next is another film that, just like The Overnighters, was on my Amazon list for years. And I finally picked it up actually on Hamilton Books, and this is from 2012, and it is a Norwegian film, I believe, and it is Headhunters right here. And this actually has Jamie Lannister, who I'm probably going to say his name wrong, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. It also has Axel Hinne, and I'm not going to even say that name because I'm going to butcher it. But Headhunters, it's a movie that I've actually heard really good things about. It's like an action thriller of sorts, and I have heard really, like I said, I had it on my list for a reason. I remember watching the trailer years and years ago and thought that was interesting, and I wanted to put that on my list, and I just never had the opportunity to really get it until recently. And I actually was just scrolling through that site, and I saw it. I'm like, wow, I haven't thought about that movie in a couple years, and so it's definitely time to get it. But yeah, Headhunters. I know some of you have probably seen this movie, and I am curious to what you think. But it's definitely got high remarks from many of the people that I've encountered who have talked about this. So let me know if you've seen this one down in the comment section down below. All right, next is a Woody Allen film, and one that has been on and off my list for quite some time. But once again, Hamilton Books, thank you. I picked up Manhattan, and Manhattan is definitely one of Woody Allen's better known films. And it has himself in it, Diane Keaton, Michael Murphy, Mariel Hemingway, Meryl Streep, and Ann Byrne in it. And so I'm just curious, and I want to watch more of his work from this time period. And as somebody who's read the Mia Farrow autobiography, it is curious to kind of see how my experience with Woody Allen is now. It's definitely a lot more colored in a way that paints him in a negative light, but there are some times where the films themselves, I can still enjoy the work. It's a lot like Roman Polanski, right? Where for me, it's like I really enjoy the stories themselves and can kind of counter off that artist and the art kind of argument that exists. And so it's a tricky one. And honestly, I can't say I'm perfect. There are some bad actors out there or bad people out there that I won't support their work. And so it's a really interesting and tricky thing, and that I feel like has its own merit to talk about in another video entirely altogether. And I'm sure it might even spark some people in the comment section to talk about it. But I wanted to check out Manhattan, and that's definitely what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, have you seen it? I've heard. I guess it's a classic for some. So yeah, let's move on for the next one. All right, so the last movie that I picked up from Hamilton Books was a documentary from 2015 over this legendary collaboration, or this conversation that these two filmmakers had. When I need to read the book, by the way, too. Hitchcock and Truffaut. And I really just want to check out more of this work. I know that like Nathan Hale is a huge Hitchcock fan, and definitely got me excited for this last month of August to watch some more Hitchcock films. But I also read, the recent Hitchcock biography on him, and I've been interested more and more. And I saw that this was on Hamilton Books, and I was like, I'm definitely wanting to see this because I have only seen a few things from Truffaut, from Francois Truffaut, like the 400 Blows, but I really enjoy his work from what I've encountered. So I'm definitely curious about this documentary. Has anyone seen this documentary? I definitely want to hear what you think of it. Let me know. Right, so this next film, I'm going to get a lot of people who are like, oh, come on, how come you haven't seen this? I'm going to get to it very, very soon. This is actually a kind of retelling of a classic film that I haven't also seen. That's The Shop Around the Corner. I'm talking about You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Yes, I know I haven't seen it. Get off my case. I'm gonna get there, and I'm also gonna watch the Shop Around the Corner. I'm gonna get there. Okay, promise. And then the last film that I want to talk about from the just normal kind of standard releases here is a Martin Scorsese film. One that I don't really know much about, but I'm assuming mainly because it's probably not one of his touted films. But it has Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro in it. I'm talking about New York, New York. And I think this is a musical. But like I said, I like Scorsese, and so I'm definitely curious to kind of explore this side of him as well. But yeah, New York, New York. And now we're actually going to move on to this is probably the thing I'm most excited about in this entire video. A film that I actually got from Network on Air. Right, what I'm talking about is a documentary from Mark Cousins, and if anyone's familiar, I actually talked about Women Make Film, which is a really great release from Cohen Media. It's behind me somewhere. And it is a documentary that just talks about all the aspects of women filmmaker, and like a 14 episode, like they're all hour long each. So there's like 14 hours of, these different aspects of women filmmakers and actors and directors and people who are behind the scenes, just talking about their mark and their stamp on the history of film. And I guess Mark Cousins did a 2011 documentary called The Story of Film right here, and is finally recently released on Blu-ray. This is actually from the UK, from Network on Air. So if you are curious and you want this as a Region B release, right here, I'm going to take off the slipcover because that slipcover, you can get fingerprints on it really easily. That's why I'm holding it all weird. But I've heard just phenomenal things about this, and I'm surprised I have not actually really dove into this. And I'm sure a lot of people have who are watching this video probably have encountered this, or at least watched it in the past, or at least know a little bit about it. I really didn't, and I'm really glad that it finally kind of popped up for me. And I want to say thank you to Sam, film blogger Sam. He's the one who talked about it recently in his podcast, which is, I'll leave that in the link down below as well. I actually recently talked about Robocop and Predator with him in an Ultimate 1987 double feature, and it's definitely an entertaining listen, so if you're curious about that. But he talked about this right here, this Mark Cousins documentary, and he's watching this right now. But this is like 15 hours long, and took 5 years of making, over 6 continents and 12 decades, showing the different filmmakers influenced by both historical events and the times yeah, I'm just super, super excited about this, and I really want to read his book as well. I think that came previously to this release. Yeah, but I'm so ecstatic about this. This is the one that I'm most ecstatic about, and I'm sure I'm gonna watch it very soon. And you can piecemeal this because obviously it's a long release. How long is it altogether? 915 minutes approximately. So anyway, yeah. So if you are curious and you do want something like this, order it from Network site. That's what I did from the UK. And like I said, you have to have a region-free player to play this one if you want the Blu-ray. Now it is expensive, but to me, I think this is totally worth you know, the wait and how much it costs. But there might be some kind of sale going on. I don't know anything really about Network. The only thing I have from them, other than this, is the Up series from Richard Apt, and I really love that series. So highly recommend checking out more of their stuff. So anyway, I'm super excited about this Mark Cousins story of film documentary. How about you? All right, so moving right along to some boutique labels. The first is from Olive Films, and if everyone knows that I've been on a huge Sidney Lumet kick a few months ago because I watched a lot of his films. I'm not done. I'm still watching a lot of them, and I picked up Daniel right here with Timothy Hutton in it. I don't really know much about it, but when I read Sidney Lumet's Making Movies book, he talked a little bit about it in there. And then also in a lot of the special features that I watched with all the Sidney Lumet films that I watched, this film was talked about and discussed. So I'm super excited about Daniel. And then the other is actually a recent release from Warner Archive, actually. Then the August release is Prince of the City. And yeah, I've actually heard fantastic things about this one. And this one came out in 1981. You know, I guess in the 70s, I think Sidney Lumet made like Serpico and The Offense in the early 70s, and even Dog Day Afternoon in the mid 70s. So he knows some police story related ones, but I'm very excited about this one because I've heard a lot of people talk good things about this. Another friend of mine, Andre, also brought this up in one of his favorites as well. So super excited about both Daniel and also Prince of the City. I just love Sidney Lumet. He's definitely one of those directors that hasn't made a bad movie, in my opinion, thus far that I've seen. But I don't know. What about you? Have you seen any of those films? All right, so continuing right along with the Warner Archive August releases, I had to obviously pick up the next Thin Man series, Shadow of the Thin Man, and I believe this is the fourth film with William Powell and Myrna Loy. I have seen the first Thin Man, and I am definitely waiting to get all of the other releases to finally jump into each of them and have myself a good time with it. But yeah, super excited about this. It also has a classic cartoon, The Goose Goes South, and a vintage short, The Telltale Heart. And so, good release from Warner Archive. They've been releasing some really fantastic releases so far. And then moving right along to another Warner Archive release, I realized that this was actually fairly cheap on Amazon at the time I picked this up. It is actually an Eli Kazan production of a Tennessee Williams play, Baby Doll, right here. And Baby Doll has Carl Malden in it, Carol Baker, and Eli Wallach in it. And I really don't know much about this, but obviously I am a fan of Tennessee Williams adaptations and Kazan and Elia. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. This one from 1956. Has anyone seen Baby Doll? Let me know what you think about it. And then the last film that I picked up from Warner Archive is a Kung Fu classic, and I haven't even seen the first one, so maybe I should watch that too. I think Eureka put out the first one. But I'm talking about Drunken Master 2 with Jackie Chan. And I'm very excited about more Kung Fu films. Obviously, the Shaw Brothers box set that's coming out in December. I may have pre-ordered that just in preparation. I also just watched Shang-Chi, and that was a lot of fun, and it just kind of got my interest back in martial arts just in general. And yeah, Drunken Master 2, I'm sure I'm going to be watching sometime relatively soon. But maybe I should... have you seen the Drunken Master films? If you have, let me know if I should see the first Drunken Master before I watch the second. I don't know if they're connected at all, but let me know in the comment section down below. All right, so now we're moving on to a Paramount Pictures Presents, and I really love this Paramount Presents line right here. And I actually just got number 22, A Place in the Sun, right here, with Elizabeth Taylor, Montgomery Clift, and Shelley Winters in it, and it's directed by George Stevens, who also produced it as well. I'm excited about this because I love Montgomery Clift and also Elizabeth Taylor, and I've been finding the releases from Paramount Presents just this line of a lot of films that are like classics, but also like this kind of run all over the place. So like when these times come out, it's just a lot of fun, and I'm definitely curious about this. The cover eluded me, and I'm like, okay, yes, I'm gonna get it, and so that's what I did with this one. But yeah, Place in the Sun is something I'm very excited about. All right, so next is actually a Eureka title, and I actually pre-ordered this quite a bit ago, but it finally came in the mail in the end of July, early August, and I picked up spy number 236 from Eureka Masters of Cinema lineup. I got The Man Who Laughs right here. And The Man Who Laughs, this is from 1928. It's directed by Paul Linney. And this is the kind of the inspiration for the Joker, right? And you get some of that with the facial expressions too, of something like the comics that you would get later on, or even like Jack Nicholson's performance is like very reminiscent of this. But like this is the alternate cover right here, but Eureka put out this cover right there of that. But yes, it's a man who's, I guess his face is stuck that way, but I don't really know much about it, but I'm curious to kind of watch it and kind of see the special features and see what like all the hubbub of this film is. And yeah, these classic films that inspire a lot of things in the future that are really influential are just something to always be curious about. So I'm glad to pick this up. This is a Region B release, so if you are curious about it, it is coming from a different region. So just note that. All right, so next we're going to talk about some Criterions that I picked up. This is actually the third film that I picked up in that buy two get one free sale that I was told you about when I talked about Raya and the Last Dragon, and also Luca. I also picked up Marcel Camus's Black Orpheus, and this is one that I found at a used store a long time ago, but I kind of put it down because there was other titles that I was interested in. And yeah, this is one that was definitely on my mind, and definitely something very curious about. This is actually spy number 48, so it's one of the earlier titles in the Criterion collection for the Blu-rays. And this is, yeah, a film from 1959, and I'm very excited about this. It is a Portuguese film, so it's a Brazilian film. 20th Century Madness in Rio de Janeiro. So it's all in Portuguese. That's why I said it's in Brazil, right? It was actually the winner for the best foreign language film in the Cannes Film Festival's Palme d'Or for this time period. So yeah, I've heard this is a very this movie is very energetic and has a lot of energy to it, and so that's something that that's all I really have heard about it, other than a few people mention it before. But yeah, I'm excited to see Black Orpheus and just kind of expand my knowledge on these films from this time period. All right, so next we're going to go to 1949. This is actually spy number 792, and is actually directed by Giuseppe De Santis. So it is an Italian film from 49, Bitter Rice, right here. And I actually picked this one up because it was actually cheap on Amazon, and I was looking through this, and I read the synopsis of it, and it definitely was something that I was really intriguing to me. This femme fatale involving a girlfriend who played by Hollywood star Doris Dowling, and has a good look at just the I guess female and male interactions here. And so I'm definitely curious to watch Bitter Rice, but I don't really know much about it, and yeah, I'm excited to see it though. Just wanted to have a little fourth wall break. Just mention that I am going to be watching all these movies in the future sometime, so I will go more in depth with them in the future. And so just stay with me just saying like I just got interested in this film, and so that's why I picked it up. And so continuing with that line of thought, from 1958, this is spy number 645, The Ballad of Narayama, right here. This is a Japanese film from 1958, and it is directed by Kazuki Kinoshita. And yeah, I don't know terribly too much about it, but it's a folk tale that is utilized in kabuki theater quite a bit in Japanese, I guess in the theater production. But yeah, I'm curious about this one, and I've been really kind of in a Japanese film kick lately, and we're actually going to talk about some Japanese films in a second from Arrow. But yeah, I wanted to pick this one up. I've had it on my list on and off for quite some time, and now was the time to get it. Right, now we're going to be talking about some Arrow releases, and the first is one that isn't talked about terribly too much, and one that I was just kind of curious about, and it is directed by Francisco Rosi. So it's an Italian film from 1981, and it is three brothers right here. This is from Arrow, the defunct Arrow Academy now, yeah, the cover art and then the synopsis really just kind of pulled me in. Just talking about power struggles within Italy, and also just kind of seeing that the social and political interactions here with the story itself. But now moving on to a reissue, I actually recently picked up the Battles Without Honor and Humanity box set that Arrow re-released, but I also finally picked up Kenji Fukusaku's new Battles Without Honor and Humanity. So this is the complete trilogy. So this is like the newer films involved as well. I'm surprised I didn't pick it up during the Arrow sale. I should have, but I didn't, alongside this companion. So I've heard obviously good things about both, and yeah, I'm definitely excited to dive into those gangster Japanese Yakuza films very, very soon. And the last box set that I'm going to talk about here is this one that is beautifully designed from Arrow, the Dimension Trilogy right here. I've been sitting on this since the end of July, but I wanted to save it for the end. But wow, I'm super excited about this. I haven't even really opened it because there's still the tape here and here as well. But I'm really, really excited about this box set here. Kind of taking the Jewish golem story and then embedding it into feudal Japan, and seeing that legend kind of come across is really exciting. And as somebody who is just in love with feudal Japan and the stories that have been told from like a Kurosawa side of things, even like the Lone Wolf and Cub series, I'm just a fan of this time period and these types of films. And so super excited. It's like a kaiju film mixed with a samurai film, and I'm very, very for it. So those are what I picked up for the month of August. Now it is my time to ask you, what did you pick up for the month of August? Did you pick up any of these titles or anything else? I'm definitely curious to know in the comment section down below. Now let's actually move on to the giveaway for Ron. All right, so now we're going to be doing a giveaway for the movie Ron from Kurosawa, Akira Kurosawa's 1985 classic. I have 8 of you that I have written down, and I have a random number generator right here, 1 through 8, and I'm going to generate it now. Number 3. And number 3 is Will Roberts. So Will Roberts, if you are listening to this right now or watching this video, contact me via Twitter or Instagram, and I'll set you up and I can send this copy to you. I want to say thank you so much for everybody who participates in these giveaways. I know they're scarce and they're random, but I do enjoy interacting with you outside of just making these videos and talking to you in the comment section. I also want to make sure that you're, if there's something that I necessarily don't want in my collection, I can help another collector out. And that always is something that makes me happy. And so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can leave a comment down below, share, hit the notification bell, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.